Welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay. Isi-share ko sa inyo yung Senate hearing ng subcommittee ni Senador Robin Padilla tungkol sa amendment ng konstitusyon na economic amendment, no. So dito makikita mo kung yung mga pambungad na salita ng mga senador natin, kung dito mo makikita yung brilliance nila, kung anong doon sa initial pa lang na salita nila, alam may idea ka na kung ano ang pinaglaban, magaling ba itong mga senador na ito. So we have to admit, merong mga senador na medyo sorry for the word, pero mukhang kulang sa abilidad, lalo na batas ang pinag-usapan, ano. So bahala kayong humusga. I-share ko sa inyo ito.
Sa pinakamahigpit sa mga regulasyon base sa Foreign Direct Investment Regulatory Restrictiveness Index ng Organization for Economic Cooperation Development, base sa Foreign Direct Investment Attractiveness Scorecard noong 2020, ang Pilipinas ay nasa dulo, 13th sa 14th na ekonomiya sa Asia Pacific. Pang 13 po tayo sa 14 na ekonomiya sa Asia Pacific. Batid naman po nating sinubukan na itong gamutin sa pamamagitan ng pagpasa ng Public Services Act. Subalit nga po, nung ating binigyan diin nung nakaraan at binanggit din ng ating Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, ang nakabinbing pang-question po nito sa Korte Suprema ay nagbibigay pa rin ng alinlangan sa mga dayuhang mamumuhunan. Ito po ang dahilan kung kaya hindi pa tayo makaarangkada sa implementasyon ng batas. Sa paghahain po ng resolusyon bilang 6 ng ating mga iginagalang na mga senador, Senate President Zubiri, Senadora Ligarda at Senador Angara, natutuwa po ako na mabibigyan ng pagkakataon ang diskusyon sa pagpapaluwag ng ating konstitusyon tungkol sa mga restriksyon sa mga pampublikong kagamitan, institusyong pang-edukasyon, at industriya ng advertising. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa tagapangulo ng Senado sa kanyang malawat na pangunawa sa prinsipyong aking tinitindigan, gayon din sa aking mga kasamahan dito sa Senado. Muli po, ako po ay nagpupugay sa ating Pangulo ngayon ng subcommittee na ito, Senator Sani Angara, sapagkat ito pong hakbang na ito ay tunay na aking pong pinaniniwalaan na makatutulong sa pag-unlad ng ating bansa at makawala po sa talikala ng pangungutang, sapagkat sa usapin po ng lohika, kapag ka may investment, ibig sabihin may puhunan. Kapag ka may puhunan, ay merong iikot na pera. At pag umikot ng pera, magkakaroon po ng trabaho, magkakaroon ng tamang sweldo, at magkakaroon po ng ibig sabihin ng pagtakbo at pag-ikot ng ekonomiya. Kaya muli po, maraming salamat at mabuhay po.
Maraming salamat, Chairperson Senator Robin Padilla, ang chair ng ating Committee on Constitutional Amendments. Thank you for the kind words, Senator Chairman Robin. At gusto nating kilalanin din po ang ating mga kasamahan na kakarating lang po. Senator Risa Hontiveros, our chair of the Committee on Women. Good morning, ma'am. And the Deputy Minority Leader as well. Senator J.B. Hercito, our Deputy Majority Leader and the chair of the Senate Committees on Housing and Local Government. And Senator Win Gatchalian, our hardworking chair of the Committee on Basic Education and energy. I always think your energy. Ways and Means. Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you for your trust and the chairman's trust in having me chair this committee. We'd like to acknowledge our very distinguished guests, and we're very fortunate today to have them with us. We have them in person as well as online. We have no less than former Chief Justice Hilario Davide Jr., who is with us. I think he's come all the way from Cebu. Thank you, sir. We have former Justice Adolfo Ascuna, who was also here last week for the suffrage or electoral Reforms hearing. And also we have online another framer of the Constitution, Attorney Christian Monsod. Can you hear us, Attorney Monsod? Morning, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir. And legal luminaries, a known constitutionalist, Justice Vicente, or VV for short, Mendoza. Good morning, sir. We have from the IDP, or the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, representing President Pido, is Attorney Marlo Tistura. Morning, sir. And of course, not just legal luminaries, meron din po tayong magagaling na mga ekonomista. We have Dr. Gerardo Sicat from the UP School of Economics, who was one of the first NEDA Director Generals, if I'm not mistaken, sir. We have, maybe we could say from the opposite side of the spectrum, Sunny Africa, a graduate of, they say it's a good institution, the London School of Economics, and representing the Ibon Foundation. Morning, sir. We have a former Finance Secretary, Gary Teves, is with us. Sir, morning. And from the Constitutional Reform and Reunification Movement, we have Mr. Orion Perez Tumtum. Morning, sir. Thank you. We invited more, but I think some could not make it, and some submitted their position papers, which we will share with the members of the committee and the public. Hopefully, we can post those online as well. So I'd just like to ask, before I turn it over to our distinguished resource persons, tatanong ko lang po sa ating kasamahan, baka meron silang pangunahing gustong sabihin or initial remarks. Your Honors, yeah. Senator Risa, go ahead, ma'am.
Salamat, Mr. Chair, at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Salamat kasi ang hearing natin na ito para sa resolution of both houses, RBH 6, ay tanda na parang suspended rin muna ang diskusyon dito sa Kongreso niyang huwad na People's Initiative. Kaya sana nga yung temporary suspension ng COMELEC ng mga proceedings sa PI maging permanent na rin. Itapon na natin sa basurahan yung PI na yan. In any case, dear colleagues, hindi po nabawasan ang pag-alala ko sa mga probisyon ng saligang batas na nais i-amyenda ng RBH 6. Kaya salamat po sa pagkakatong pag-usapan ito dahil magbabantay talaga ako na hindi tayo mahaluan ng mga panukalang magpapahina lang sa ating demokrasya. I will definitely be one of those not to allow any provisions that will make our critical industries and institutions and our irreplaceable resources vulnerable to foreign takeover and exploitation. Sa bagay, mas madali kasing sisihin ang walang kamalay-malay na dokumento kaysa sisihin ang mga totoong dahilan. Korupsyon, red tape, malabong burokrasya, at mataas na singil ng kuryente ang nagtataboy sa mga lokal at dayuhan na investor. Walang pananagutan ang 1987 Constitution sa mga bagay na yon. Una sa lahat, yung sinasabi nilang restrictive di umano, hindi po yan totoo. Bukas na po ang ating tindahan, ladies and gentlemen. We have introduced numerous legislation that have already liberalized our sectors. Ilan lang dito ang RA 10641 or amendments to the Foreign Bank Liberalization Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Public Service Act, the Foreign Investments Act. So much of the Philippine economy is already open to foreign participation. Kung restrictions lang sa ekonomiya ang pag-uusapan, yung ating kapitbahay na Singapore, namamayagpag kahit na may restrictions sa critical industries at public utilities. Ang ibang bansa sa ASEAN, gaya ng Thailand at Indonesia, may kanya-kanya ding industriya na inaalagaan. Tayo, kulelat pa rin kahit maluwag na nga ang ekonomiya at marami ng provisyon para makapasok ang pera. Kaya hindi po solusyon ang tsa-tsa. Kahit sasabi nilang purely economic provisions para bawasan ang mga tunay na iniinda natin. Yung mismong roadmap nga ng pamahalaan sa pag-unlad, ang Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028, wala ding, wala ding nabanggit na dapat mag-tsa-tsa para tumami ang trabaho, buksain ang kahirapan, at pataasin ang kalidad ng buhay ng bansa. Wala ito sa napag-usapan. Kaya, huwag sana nating gawing collateral damage ang konstitusyon, ang mismong kaluluwa ng bansa. We, the Filipino people, will determine our destiny, hindi yung ambisyon lang ng iilan. Hindi rin natin hahayaang mabaliwala ang pagsisikap ng ating mga mamamayan, ng civil society, mga mass movements, na gumawa ng paraan para magkaroon ng totoong pagbabago sa lipunan sa pamamagitan ng lehitimong paraan, kaysa sa ginagawa ng mga ilehitimong puwersa dyan sa tabi-tabi na tinira tayo ng pailalim. May the 1987 Constitution light our discussions today, ladies and gentlemen. Handa po akong makinig at makibahagi, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
Well said, Senator Risa. I just like, before I recognize Senator Win, we just like to acknowledge some of our colleagues who have arrived. Chair of the Committee of National Defense, Public Order, Senator Ronald Pato de la Rosa, former Chief of the PNP, and of course, our very much in the news, our Chair of the Committee on Electoral Reforms, the favorite sister of the President, Senator Amy Marcos. Madam, good morning. Morning, sir. Senator Win, yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a brief opening statement. First of all, I'd like to thank the chairman of this subcommittee for hearing my resolution. I actually filed my first version of this amendment to the economic provisions of our Constitution in 2019, which is the previous Congress. And I would like to, gusto ko rin po pasalamatan po ang chairman ng Mother Committee na ito, Committee on Constitutional Amendments, for holding 10 hearings, Mr. Chairman, nationwide, no? From Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Cebu, Baguio, Davao. I'd like to acknowledge also our Majority Leader, that's Senator Villanueva, and this is Senator Gatchalian. Go ahead, Senator Gatchalian.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank Chairman Robin Padilla for starting the ball rolling with 10 hearings. And in fact, I read parts of his hearing, and I read the parts of the transcript of his hearings, and there were a lot of things covered, and it's good to discuss those items in greater detail in the days to come. But Mr. Chairman, I'd like to the consequences that we need to safeguard. But the overall goal of this representation is to create more jobs by opening up our economy, speed up our growth by attracting more FDIs to our country, and hopefully by amending our constitution, we can attract critical foreign direct investments to critical industries in our country. So again, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for hearing this resolution, and thank again Senator Robin Padilla for hosting 10 hearings in this measure. Thank you.
Parang sinasabi mo, Senwin, dapat mag-10 hearings din ako. Ha? Baka hindi matuwa yung ating mga kaibigan sa kabilang kapulungan. But thank you for sharing with us those very important facts. Any other preliminary remarks from our colleagues before we go to our Senator Amy?
Yes, very briefly, as your former chairman of economic affairs, the truth is that I was in close contact with most of our foreign investors and locators almost daily. And never once did they mention a change in the Constitution. Each time they stated that there was a need for lower rates of electricity, infinitely better infrastructure, less red tape, and a predictable and reliable regulatory framework. At no point did they say that the Constitution needed to be changed. Having said that, I am also puzzled by the list that has been provided for public services, given the many problems we have had with NGCP and the constant investigations here in the Senate. We are all fully aware that basic education, as well as all aspects of private education, are shrinking in revenue, in number, and in employment. So why education will be turned over for foreigners, for our children, also being converted into aliens, is a puzzlement to me. Finally, the addition of advertising is also somewhat bizarre, given that the large advertising multinationals are already present in the country, and that advertising involves very little investment at all. Having said that, on the economic aspect, may I also get perhaps some clarity on the manner by which the so-called restrictive economic provision shall be amended. The Senate version, passed by our good chairman, indicates a constituent assembly, without mentioning the name, but clearly stating that 3/4 would be involved. However, the House version calls for a constitutional convention, or at least that's what I understand from what was passed in third reading in March earlier last year. So if we could be elucidated on the process for the CONCON, which would clearly be far more expensive, and which would, in fact, surrender the control of both houses over the subject matter once the Constitutional Convention has been elected and convened. So what safeguards do we have, and what choice do we have between the CONCON and the CONAS, which, once again, is a difference between the two houses? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very much, Senator Amy. Very good questions, very good points, and we will seek clarity from our learned resource persons in due time. Yes, Senator Bato, please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to state for the record that I am here to support you in this endeavor as our subcommittee chairman, and also our mother committee chairman, Senator Robin Padilla. And I would like to listen to our highly esteemed resource persons na yung ibang pangalan ay memorize ko na nung ako'y elementary pa. Memorize ko na sa aking subject na social studies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Binimadyo, parang nagpapabata na daw sabi niya. Maka-college ka na daw nun, sabi niya. Just joking. Thank you very much for the statement of support, which is very much appreciated, Senator Bato. If there our Majority Leader wishes to... Yes, Majority Leader, Senator Joel.
Thank you, and good morning to our dear colleagues, especially to our resource persons. This will be just very brief, just like Senator Bato de la Rosa. I'm here to support our colleagues. First of all, to Senator Robin Padilla, who exhaustively heard so many issues about this particular deliberation, and of course our subcommittee chair, Chairman Sani Angara. I think it is important to note that ang Senado ay tunay na may isang salita, Mr. President. We began our hearing today consistent with our commitment, the commitment of our Senate President to the President to explore and study amendments to the economic provisions of the Constitution. This will be exhaustive hearings. Unlike itong Peking PI, hindi naman ito irarush. We will do it right, and we will follow our timetable, one that ensures that all voices are heard. This will be transparent. Our people will know what is going on and what we are talking about. Wala po tayong itatago dito, at higit sa lahat, wala pong kalokohan gaya ng mga nadiskubre ng ating mga kasamahan nung nagpunta sila sa Davao, ni Senator Amy, Senator Bato, and Senator Bongo. Ang Senado po kasi, ulitin ko, ay may isang salita. May isang salita. This was our commitment from the very beginning, and we only went off track because of this ill-fated Peking initiative that was pushed by some quarters with the support of the House of Representatives. At klaro po yan, wala naman pong naniniwala na sa kanila na wala silang kinalaman dito. We have been told that if the Senate will tackle RBH 6, goodbye PI na raw. Gayon pa man, we will continue to be vigilant habang to protect the processes involved in amending our charter while we make sure that RBH 6 sticks to the original intention to amend only economic provisions of the Constitution. We will also continue to be proactive in our measures to thwart unconstitutional chacha efforts. Kasama dito po yung investigation natin dyan na pinangungunahan ni Senator Amy Marcos. Linawin ko lang po kasi yung sinasabing ceasefire, ceasefire sa usapin ng PI. Kaya we will refrain from debating on this issue. Pero yung ceasefire po does not mean cease working or stop the PI inquiry. Kasi syempre, kung may nakita po tayong sablay, matawa si Senator Bato kasi ang dami na niyang nakitang sablay eh. Pag may nakitang sablay ang Senado, talagang iimbestigahan po ito. Hindi naman tayo magkikibit-balikan. Yung ongoing hearings are in the process of unearthing evidence and nakita naman po natin, meron talagang questionable sa pagpapirma ng Peking Initiative. May mali po. Why should we turn a blind eye to these irregularities? Ang dami pong tanong, sino ang nagpondo sa kampanya? Saan galing itong pondo ng PI? Bakit nagkaroon ng traffic doon sa Forbes noong kuhanan ng 2.5? Bakit may traffic? Bakit ang mga chief of staff nagkukumahog na pumunta doon? Mr. Chairman, ayaw natin na masayang yung salapi ng taong bayan. Kaya ho tayo narito ngayon to make sure that we will hear this exhaustively and with transparency. The people have the right to know if their money is being used properly for their benefit and not for the benefit of a political agenda. Ang gusto kasi nung iba, forgive and forget na lang. Hindi naman po tama yun. Hindi na kami magsasalita tungkol sa PI, but we should let the witnesses speak and we should let the evidence speak. And at the end of the day, kung may gumawa ng labag sa batas, those responsible should be held accountable. So Chairman, ang bottom line po sa ginagawa ng Senado, yung ating trabaho. Trabaho po natin ito. Kaya naman, sabay natin yung pagdinig at pag-investigate kasi hindi naman tayo ganun kabisi sa paggawa ng mga resolusyon supporting our Senate President or supporting Senator Amy Marcos. Kasi dito po sa Senado, alam na natin kung ano yung tama at hindi kailangan ng mga ganyan kasi alam naman nila that they have the support of the Senate. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Of course, we will take guidance from you as our one of the heads of the institution. Thank you very much. Any others? Senator JD? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just briefly. Anyway, we're here to listen. Just like to also recognize your efforts so that we can already start the ball rolling and prevent this constitutional crisis, if I may say. And also give recognition to our chair of the Constitutional Amendments Committee, Sen.Robin Padilla, for starting this. We are in a democratic society, and as they say, we have all the bright ideas are needed, no? In these discussions. Anyway, Mr. Chair, what we should be looking at right now is on how we will be able to improve the quality lives of our people. In our efforts here in the Senate, on my part, we already shepherded the Public-Private Partnership Act and will soon sponsor the comprehensive infrastructure for master plan for us to be able to attract foreign investments. But as they say, our Constitution was written in 1987, 40 years, and the world has changed considerably. There was no such thing as globalization worldwide back then. The world has become smaller. And I do agree that we have to discuss on what we will be able to do, on how we will be able to attract foreign investors. Medyo nakakabahala lang, nakalungkot tignan yung FDIs that we are getting doon sa pinakitang graph ni Sen.Robin. We are really lagging behind. But Mr. Chair, we in the Senate, we are not, hindi po ako sang-ayon na hindi tayo nagtatrabaho. In fact, we have mentioned that we have already started hearing on the priority measures that is designed on improving our economy. No? Yung Comprehensive Master Plan, Public-Private Partnership Act, and the rest. Again, we have to look into infrastructure, energy, and a lot more things that need to be prioritized so that we will be able to stimulate economic growth and provide jobs and opportunities to our people. So again, Mr. Chair, congratulations in advance for having this hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator JV, for the support and the very good remarks. We have with us, we'd like to acknowledge the head of our institution, no less than the Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much to my dear colleague, Senator Sani Angara, our chairman of the subcommittee, together with the chairman, Senator Robin Padilla, to all my colleagues, and of course the guests, all our friends, the legal luminaries from the legal community. Thank you for joining us today. And we also have today economists joining us. I know Tito Gary is here and others that are going to assist us in ferreting out the best way possible to remove the possible economic restrictions in the Constitution. We just like to put on record that the Senate is working very hard to listen to the clamor of certain sectors to look at and revisit the 1987 Constitution. But we will not be falling into a trap on any deadline, because to discuss such an important matter needs time. It needs study. It cannot be rushed like any regular bill that is just approved without thinking. So we, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Senate, will make sure that we deliberate this as much as possible and come up with the best outcome for our people. And so with that, I give my full support to our chairperson, Senator Sani Angara. The timeline is in your hands. If you feel it necessary, that we must discuss this with all members of society, not only our learned luminaries here, as well as different sectors that will be affected by proposed amendments to our Constitution. So we leave it all up to you, my dear colleagues, my dear chairman. You have the full trust and confidence of this institution. And again, let us not listen to the noise. Let us be above the fray. The Senate, as an institution, should be statesmen and women that will always look at the best possible outcome for our country, not for our localities, but for our country. And therefore, let us filter out the noise and focus on the work at hand. So mabuhay pong Senado, mabuhay Republika ng Pilipinas. Thank you very much, Joe.
Maraming salamat, Senate President Zubiri. We totally agree with you. We thank you for your authority, and we thank you for standing as a statesman these past few weeks, which have been very trying times for the country. And I think there will be challenges ahead. And with you at the helm, we are fully behind you in all your actions. Salamat po sa suporta. The chair just wishes to state that, reiterate my colleague's stand that this is not something that needs to be rushed, given the importance. Kung yung pagkaraniwang patakaran ay talagang dinidebate natin, mas lalo na po dahil ito ay pinakamahalaga o pinakamataas na batas sa bansa, ang mismong saligang batas. At pangalawa po, klaro naman dun sa sinabi ng ating mga kasama na although maganda yung constitutional reform, hindi ito sapat. Huwag nating isipin na ito ay isang milagro na pag pinasa natin ay darating bigla at kakatok sa ating mga pintuan, mga mamumuhunan at mga negosyante. Dahil tulad ng sinabi ng ating mga kasama, maraming factors po yan. Yung ease of doing business, yung rule of law, yung kasiguruhan na re-respetuhin yung mga kontrata, yung red tape ay babawasan o yung mga kahirapan sa bureaucracia. Ayun, there's so many factors, and we know this because there's so many surveys. And as mentioned by some of our colleagues, hindi naman sa taas yung constitutional reform. Pero hindi naman ito ibig sabihin na hindi makakatulong ang constitutional reform. To the extent that it can, by all means, let us explore the possibilities. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our guests. And with your permission, colleagues, we'd like to start with former Chief Justice Hilario Davide Jr., who was one of the framers of the 1987 Constitution before he became the Chief Magistrate. Good morning, Chief Justice Davide. Sir, we'd like to hear from you, please, on Resolution number 6 regarding the economic provisions of the Constitution. Thank you, sir. You have the floor.
How much time would be given me?
Well, sir, given the importance of the subject matter, it would be ideal if you could spend... how much time do you need, sir?
Probably 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Good morning to all of you. I thank the Honorable Chairman and the members of the subcommittee for inviting me to this public hearing on Senate Resolution of both Houses number 6. I am deeply honored. I shall henceforth refer to this resolution as Senate RBH 6. I have some preliminary statements that concern some procedural matters. To save time, however, I shall just proceed directly to the issues concerning the Senate Bill RBH 6. Let me start with a reiteration of my firm and unchangeable stand that there are no valid, serious, and compelling reasons to amend our 1987 Constitution. What our country and our people need today are not amendments to or revision of the Constitution, but the full implementation of its principles and state policies, solemnly enshrined in its Article 2 and mandatory and provisions in its body. In about 150 instances, our Constitution orders the state or Congress to implement them. By these solemn commands, Congress shall give highest priority to, the state shall, Congress shall, as provided by law, as established by law, or in accordance with law. However, either intentionally and with evident bad faith, or incompetence, or neglect of duty on the part of our concerned government officials, the state or Congress have not fully and meaningfully complied with these constitutional commands and mandates. Hence, a vast majority of the provisions, especially on social justice, on economic development, on abolition of political dynasties, among many others, have remained unimplemented to the great prejudice of our people, especially the poor, the marginalized, the underprivileged, or, open quote, the least, the last, and the lost, close quote. If at all there is a need to amend the Constitution, it must be based on the most compelling grounds or reasons. It must, foremost, be for the best interest of the country and the people, now and in the future, and not for a chosen few. It is to solve serious problems, not to create new ones. It must be in pursuance of and in compliance with the declared principles and state policies at the Article 2 of the Constitution. With these standards and tests in mind, let us now take a hard and serious look at the resolution of both Houses number 6. Without saying it in clear language, it considers or describes the constitutional provisions covered by the proposal to be the culprits or causes that hindered or will continue to hinder economic growth. They are obstacles to economic development or progress. I must forthwith say that the provisions proposed to be amended and all other provisions of the national economy, such as those proposed to be amended in the House of Representatives resolution of both Houses number 2, which include the economic provisions pertaining to agriculture, land ownership, and lease, are not the culprits or the causes of our massive social, economic, political, moral, and ethical problems and debacles. These are all caused
by the failures to fully implement or enforce the Constitution, by poor governance and accountability, and open violations of the public trust character of the public office enshrined in Section 1 of Article 11 of the Constitution, which provides, open quote, public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must, at all times, be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, and act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. I repeat, our problems are not due to the restrictive economic provisions of the Constitution. They cannot be solved by removing its restrictive economic provisions and completely leaving to Congress their future under the laws unless otherwise provided by law. On the contrary, they would create more serious and disturbing problems and consequences, which I will show later. Let us now look deeper into the proposals of Senate Resolution of both Houses number 6 on the provision on education. It leaves to Congress the power to change at any given time the Filipino citizenship requirement in the basic education. I repeat, basic education. Again, that in our educational system, we have the basic, the senior high, and the tertiary education. The proposal opens to foreign control or dominance our basic education, which is the most crucial in the development and growth of our young. This would run counter to Section 17 of Article 2 of the Declaration of Principles and State Policies of our Constitution, which provides, open quote, the state shall give priority to education, science and technology, arts, culture and sports, to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. Close quote. Then, with foreign control or dominance in our basic education, we would put asunder the noble patriotic and nationalistic virtues which are constitutionally mandated to be part of the curricula of all educational institutions, provided for in paragraph 2 of Section 3 of Article 14 of the Constitution, which reads, Section 2, paragraph 2, they shall inculcate patriotism and nationalism. Again, patriotism and nationalism. Foster love of humanity, respect for human rights, appreciation of the roles of national heroes in the historical development of the country. Teach the rights and duties of citizenship. Strengthen ethical and spiritual values. Develop moral character and personal discipline. Encourage critical and creative thinking. Broaden scientific and technological knowledge and promote vocational efficiency. Close quote. Can we expect foreigners at the helm or control of our educational system to seriously and heartily obey this state policy on education and curricula mandates? For instance, if a Chinese educational entity would now come in, do you expect it to be faithful enough to comply with these mandates? Would not its teachings focus on Chinese philosophy or even on the life of Mao Zedong? As regards the proposals affecting the provisions of public utilities and the advertising industry, suffice it to say that as to the first, there are already amendments to the Public Service Act. In any case, it would be extremely dangerous, I repeat, extremely dangerous, if we leave to Congress the extent of the Filipino citizenship requirement therein. The day will not be far when public utilities and advertising industry will be under the control or even under the full ownership by aliens. One Congress declares a 100 Filipino. Another Congress a 75-25 Filipino. Another Congress a 50-50 Filipino. Another a 25-75 Chinese. And even perhaps a 100% Chinese. The amendment would be grossly disadvantageous to our local businessmen and corporations or business entities engaged in the public utility and advertising industries. I repeat what I had been asserting before, that relaxing the Filipino citizenship requirement in the economic provisions of the country would easily convert our Congress into a fee, FEE, or capital market, of lobbyists of foreign countries or businessmen to obtain amendments in their favor. Congress would cease to be a free, FREE, market of noble, nationalistic, patriotic ideals and ideas. Remember that the Senate is the conscience of the Republic. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Yes, devils will have the day when angels fly away. To conclude, I will not hesitate to say again that amendments to or revision of the Constitution at this time would be a lethal experiment, a fatal leap, a plunge to death, a leap to hell. It would be a cha-cha dance to the grave or to hell. It would be a cruel punishment for a God-loving, patriotic, and nationalistic people. It would be claiming our people to foreign domination or control. God forbid that we now amend our Constitution. God forbid that we now can no longer proudly and with glorious fervor sing, Land of the morning, child of the sun returning, with fervor burning, thee do our souls adore. Land dear and holy, cradle of noble heroes, near shall invaders trample thy sacred shore. Ever within the skies and through the clouds, and all the hills are seen, do we behold the radiance, filled with love, a glorious liberty. The banner dear to all our hearts, its sun and stars alike, who never shall its shining feet be dimmed by tyrant's might. Beautiful land of love, O land of light, in thine embrace its rapture to lie. But it is glory ever when thou art wrong for us, thy sons, to suffer and die. God bless the Philippines. God bless the Senate. God bless the beleaguered Filipino people. Thank you all for your patience. Less than 15 minutes, Your Honors.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. God bless you for your wise words. We just want to clarify, I was conferring with the Senate President and the Majority Leader. The Senate President is the main author of the resolution. We are the co-authors. Regarding the educational institutions, Chief, it's only meant to apply to higher tertiary education, not to basic education, precisely because of the fears you enunciated that perhaps nationalism might be watered down, among others. Thank you, but thank you for sharing that with us. Next, we'll go to Justice Ascuna, also who was here with us and shared his wise words during Senator Imy's hearing, and we very much welcome his